and today we are going to dive in on the first step, which is find properties.
Good, good. So yeah, I mean, to keep it real simple, it's like the three F's. We got to find properties, we got to fund them, and then we got to finalize them, finalize the transaction. So today, let's just talk about how to find properties, starting from zero. Let's say you're coming from doing some residential deals, or let's say you're a broker and you want to kind of transition from being a fee-based commission person to actually owning the real estate, or maybe you're an entrepreneur that rather than paying rent, you want to go find your own property for your business or whatever the case may be. Okay, how do you go about finding properties? And remember, if you're just getting started in commercial, do yourself a favor. Over 25 years of doing my own deals, people that I know doing their own deals, coming up in the business with me, and then people that I've mentored and have helped, make your first deal a small one or small-ish, whatever that means to you. My first deal was like 100 grand. Okay.
Mhm.
And I didn't have much money back then. And I really relied upon using seller financing and some money that I had put away from being a commercial real estate broker. So, first and foremost, commercial real estate doesn't need to have a bunch of zeros in the purchase price. You drive by properties every day on Main Street, USA, in your market, your neighborhood, you're going to see commercial properties, whether it's a little retail property, a little apartment building, some like mixed use deal where there's retail on the first floor, some apartments upstairs. I mean, those deals are everywhere in the United States. So
Mhm.
do yourself a favor and make it a small one. It's easier to get done. So the steps and how to find it are really, there's like probably like four different things that I really want you to focus on. And one is it's all about building your personal brand. And who are you? When people are going to be talking to you about deals, they want to know that you're a real buyer. Brokers want to know that you're not wasting their time by talking to you about properties, so forth and so on. Sellers want to know that you're real. If you do make offers on properties, is this a guy that knows what he's doing? And also when you go to raise capital, which we'll talk about in another video in more depth, are your investors going to be investing into a good project? And that's all accomplished by building your personal brand. And one of the main ways that we do that is by building what I call a credibility kit. And that's a few different things. First of all, is highlighting the deals that you've done. Now, keep in mind, you don't have to have done any commercial real estate deals, but if you've done some real estate deals, like you've done a couple fix and flips or buy and holds, that's credibility. So use that and highlight that, and then show them why you want to get into commercial. We're not going to go into all the reasons today why commercial is better than residential, but show them why you're making a transformation. If you're a business owner, show your credibility of, I've built this wonderful business. I'm sick and tired of paying my landlord. I want to own my own building, and this is why. I'm going to pay myself rent rather than somebody else I don't know and frankly doesn't care about me.
Mhm.
So um, so you want that credibility kit really shows why somebody should want to do business with you versus any other option out there.
Mhm.
Next, I would go, and we have templates for this. So if you want this template, feel free to reach out to us. Happy to provide and give you some strategic direction on that. Second of all, build a simple website, simple one-page website. Do not build this elaborate, multi-page, very complicated website. Nobody cares. But
Mhm.
people are going to go search you up on Google. They're going to Google you. It's a verb. So that site is going to show up under your company name, your name, whatever the case may be. So, our software that we use, which again, if you want the real quick and easy way to do this, does this for you. Feel free to reach out to us and we're happy to hook you up on that. So just build a real simple one-page website that tells people who you are, what you want to do, highlights a little bit of that credibility, and then most important, how to get in touch with you, your social media profiles, how to email you, phone call, whatever the case may be. And then lastly, on building your brand, your personal brand, is using your social media profiles now for business rather than communicating with friends and family. So we want to monetize those profiles, whether it's social media, I'm sorry, Facebook, Instagram. I'm a big fan of LinkedIn and Twitter. So use those profiles to tell people what you're doing. I want to buy my first commercial real estate deal. I want to get connected with you. I want to see the kind of properties that you have. I want to raise some capital. Are you interested? That kind of thing. So now you got to shift your social media to using it for business purposes to some extent. Obviously, keep using it for personal reasons. The next step, once you have built your personal brand, people are starting, they can identify who you are. Now you want to outreach to them. So I call this property outreach. So in your market, probably one of the easiest and fastest things that you can do is drive your market. Drive streets that you go by every day. And I guarantee you there's commercial real estate deals there for the taking.
Mhm.
So make note of, property signs, whether they're for lease, they're say available, for sale, whatever the case may be. And understand who the players are in your market. So John Smith has a ton of listings in my market. Okay, well, that's a guy you should probably get to know. And
Mhm.
he wants to get to know you because you are an up and coming real estate investor.
Mhm.
You also want to use the property platforms to reach out to potential opportunity providers, brokers. In some cases, sellers advertise properties direct. And one that I used for a long time still works is something called loopnet.com. And
Mhm.
that is, for lack of a better word, the MLS for commercial real estate. It's that's about as good as it is. People list properties there. Um, so go there not necessarily looking to find your perfect property, but to learn who the owners are or the brokers are in your market, and you're going to get their contact information. So the best way to start a conversation with them is saying, "Hey, John Smith, I saw you got a property located at 123 Main Street, Anytown, USA. I'm a real estate investor. I'd like to talk to you more about this property." Great introduction. Now,
Mhm.
then if that property doesn't work, which it probably won't, say, "John, okay, well, John, this is the kind of property that I'm looking for. Do you have anything that would be a good fit?" Then see where that conversation goes. So
Mhm.
you're all about starting conversations, whether you're writing phone numbers down on a sign or you're going online. You can go to different Facebook groups to find potential deals. I think they're there more for residential, but they're definitely there for commercial. So start to use social media also to find deals. And then also, if you find a group that you really like in your market, start to get connected with these people. And then when they know who you are, and you've used a little bit of that credibility kit that I told you about, that you can interject onto your social media profiles, then maybe you put a post out saying, "Hey everyone, my name's Dan. I'm in Anytown, USA. I'm looking for a 8-family apartment building, or I'm looking for a self-storage, or I'm looking for a little office building for my real estate business. Reach out to me if you have anything." And you're just starting conversations. And then I think, the last thing, to kind of get out and find properties and get to know who the players are in your market is to attend RIA meetings. And for the most part, RIA meetings are full of residential investors, residential brokers, bankers, appraisers, all kinds of people, contractors. But there are commercial people there. I know this for a fact. And
Hmm.
I would go one step further and say for your first commercial deal, it's probably going to be better and easier if you approach it from a residential broker standpoint, because there are residential brokers out there that try to dabble into commercial real estate, and they every once in a while they'll list small commercial deals, or they know of some commercial deals that could be available. And again, because we want to do a smaller deal, a lot of times they have smaller deals. So it's not bad to have a relationship with those residential um, professionals, because they could be deal providers too. They could be your investors. The list goes on and on. So but there's also going to be investors at these RIA meetings that are going to be getting into commercial real estate, because all of us commercial real estate guys, most of us started in residential. So that's just the path forward. And again, I'm not going to go into the reasons why commercial is better than residential, but that's the typical path. I mean, not all of us are born wealthy. I mean, I certainly wasn't. And we just decide one day we're going to be commercial investors. We got started in residential, realized that commercial was the better path to take. So you just got to catch those people when they're on that path. Does all that make sense?
Yeah. So when you find your property, I know you listed a couple different ways you can go ahead and find one there. How do you know it's a good property? How do you know that it's worth taking a second look at? Um, give me your thoughts on that.
Yeah, that's exactly. I mean, right. Segue into my next step. So once you have a relationship with those opportunity providers, then what you want to do is and you've told them kind of the deals you're looking for, they're going to start kicking deals your way. So you want to start reviewing these what are called, offering memorandums or OMs or property packages or information sheets. And again, the extent of the information really varies, but you want to get some basic information on the property, and it's super important that while you might want to trust people, you always have to verify this information. So
Mhm.
um, and then once you get that information and you continue to have interest in it, you want to do quick deal analysis, and then determine the MAO, which I call the maximum allowable offer on the property. And again, we have this one-page spreadsheet that reach out to us if that's something that you're interested in seeing. It's tried, true, and tested over 25 years. It's super plug and play into a spreadsheet, and it put the income in, put the expenses in, and it shows you what the yields are and the cash on cash returns, debt assumptions, all that kind of stuff. So, and if that meets what you're looking for, now you have a range of a price that you can offer and then negotiate and see where that deal falls into. So um, once you get that information and it gets kind of put into your, lack of a better word, back of the napkin analysis, then you want to make sure that you double check things, take the emotion out of it, and it's just numbers. Okay, so be dispassionate about the deal. And then you want to have what I call um, a price and motivation discovery call with the seller or the broker, or ideally both of them. And this is kind of where the negotiation begins. And you're going to kind of get to understand You're on one side of the table, they're on the other, and the goal is to put a fair deal together. Now, whether the seller does that or not, who knows? Move on. There's plenty of other deals out there. But this is kind of where you get to understand their motivations as far as maybe terms, creative financing terms that could be available. Very popular right now. Ideal time in this market to do it heading into 2025. Those deals are everywhere. And then you just kind of want to listen. Okay. Ask questions and listen. And then
Hmm.
if you think you get to a point where, yeah, you know what? Sounds like there might be a deal here. Um, great. Then we go on to the next step. But don't be afraid to go quiet. Do not be afraid to go quiet because time will maybe surface the deal back up and check in with the broker every once in a while and just make sure that you don't seem too desperate to want to do a deal. So,
Hmm.
assuming, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. So now once the deal pencils out and you're like, yeah, this is something I'm interested in doing, then what we do is we make a risk-free offer on the property. And that starts with a non-binding LOI or what's called a letter of intent. And it's really a meeting of the minds on 1 or 2 pages. Again, I have a template of this. If there's something they're interested in seeing, just reach out. And it's where the buyer and the seller come together and they agree on the important terms of a transaction, and they basically both get committed to the deal. They both sign it, and then that's really the framework to put together a formal purchase and sale agreement to buy the property. So
Hmm.
once that gets signed, and let's say you go forward and you put some earnest money down to show your commitment. And again, with my private clients and my members, I help them fund their earnest money in the right circumstance and for the right deal. So again, feel free to reach out if that's something that's interesting to you.
Hmm.
And we go ahead and we put that into our attorney's trust account. Don't give it to the seller. Don't give it to the broker. Put it in your attorney's trust account because by now, once you have a meeting of the minds, you're going to need to get connected with your real estate attorney to start putting that agreement together. So show your commitment, show your money. I don't know, two, three, five, 10 grand, sometimes 50. And it shows you how serious you are about the deal, about putting a
Hmm.
transaction together. I've written offers on properties where, I've structured deals where I've funded hundreds of thousands of dollars in earnest money, which is basically um, a significant amount of the purchase price, just to show the seller that I'm super serious.
Hmm.
I'll have, $500,000 in my attorney's escrow account tomorrow. Do you think I'm serious about buying your property?
Yeah.
That gets people's attention. Okay.
Hmm.
So then, again, what you do is then you move to put the purchase and sale agreement together with your attorney. Again, make it a fair agreement. Don't go back and forth and drive up legal fees for everybody. It just drives sellers crazy. And then you negotiate back and forth with your attorney, the seller, and the seller's attorney, and probably the broker if there's one involved. And then you come to an agreement, and then you submit that signed purchase and sale agreement to the title company that you put the earnest money with, and you've really got a deal. And you've got a free look, which is one of the terms that you've negotiated in the purchase and sale agreement for 45, 60 days. You're going to trust but verify the information that the seller has given you. And I really look at it this way. I spend 45 to 60 days looking for reasons not to buy this property. And if I don't find any reasons, I'm moving forward. If I find some reasons and I can't get over it, or I can't be compensated for that, or we can't change the deal to get me comfortable with it, then I cancel the agreement. Doesn't cost me any money, except
Hmm.
maybe a little bit of money in attorney's fees. Okay.
Yep.
And then when all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed on the agreement, then I start to whisper out to my investors that I'm going to raise capital from to fund the down payment. I'm also putting money in the deal, but I'm also going to bring in investors to invest alongside me. I'm starting to whisper out to them, hey, I just put this deal under contract yesterday. I think it's a good fit for you. I'm putting my package together to show you, but I just wanted you to make aware. That makes investors feel really good that about being in a relationship with you. So that's, in a nutshell, how you go through the process of finding properties. And then the next two steps are funding the deal, which we'll talk about another day, and then finalizing the transaction where we're doing our due diligence. We're bringing the investors' capital together. If we have a bank involved, we're bringing the bank in, and the title company is doing all of the title work, the survey work, the environmental reports, all of the physical and economic due diligence, so we can close the deal. So
Hmm.
that's how we do it. I mean, that's in a nutshell, how we do it. And it's um, it's it's pretty straightforward, and um, it's something that we do all the time, and we can help people with.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like he was talking about with the investors. If you're kind of stuck there, like, how do I get investors? How do I do that? Next week we're gonna actually dive into that topic, teach you how to find investors to fund your deals, and how to find what they're looking for. Um, but as finding properties, I mean, that's about it. You got anything else to add on the subject?
No, I mean, I think the most important thing I would say is just make your first deal a small one. Do yourself a favor. And like when we mentor people, um, I tell people inside a year, I'm going to show you how to get your first deal done. Let's do ourselves a favor and make it a small one. But then I'm going to show you how to get your next one done. So
Hmm.
in the span of a year, we help people get two deals done. And
Yeah.
that's well on your way to creating a portfolio of commercial real estate. And that's the path that I've taken. That's the path I've helped people take. And I know it's successful. So